A long answer to a simple question. Is there such a thing as evil? Hello, and welcome. Za'el here. The video this time comes a bit strong, just a heads up. Before I get into the subject, I would like to make a very important clarification once again, and that is that I am not the holder of absolute truth, and that the purpose of this video is to give you or propose to you my own view on the subject, for what it may serve you. It is a subject on which, even among my colleagues, there would be multiple opinions and arguments, and today you have here only mine. All questions of this nature tend to have many different answers and points of view, all of which are very valid, but I think it is also necessary to pay close attention to the context in which this debate is taking place. To answer most accurately, we should first establish a clear meaning for what evil is. On many occasions, including here, I have heard that evil is the tendency to self-destruct as one definition. I, with all due respect and understanding the meaning of that, tend to see that not as a complete definition of what evil means, but as an inherent characteristic of it. Let me even say that I think that the tendency towards self-destruction also depends on the point of view. For me, and I repeat, for me, what I consider or feel as evil is the following. Evil is the tendency of a person or group of people who live and act on the basis of selfishness, envy, and who therefore do not mind causing evil or suffering for others if they gain something in return. This, whether the abusive party proceeds openly or covertly. Why do I feel it is important to state my opinion on this issue? For the main reason that many seeds are dragged there into a mindset that keeps them trapped in perpetual confusion. Let me explain. At this point, if you are listening to videos like this one, you are surely a person who understands the significance of the reflection that there is no such thing as good and evil, but simply conflicts of interest. You will also know that, many times, evil has its origin in a broken or traumatized person. But often it is also a question of because I want to, and because I can, and I deserve it. But if we focus on what we already know, that everything is a point of view and everything is a perspective, we can understand and expand our mind with that. We can travel for a moment to higher planes, and we can put ourselves in anyone's shoes. We can overcome any negative emotions and integrate it all. However, despite all this, I am afraid that such thinking is, at the same time, a precious and powerful weapon for those who want to harm us, who will use arguments like that to turn your goodwill and your high ethics and spirituality precisely against you. In this way, they constantly get their way, while there is only one party that suffers, and that is always you. Of course, there are thousands of meanings for practically everything. Of course, everything is a perspective and everything is a point of view that completes a much bigger picture. However, and more than anything else in and around the earthly context, I repeat, and around, I see as clear as day how this weapon is used against good-hearted people who live with the will to be better people, to understand everything and everyone, and to respect others. Then, the abusive party, to give a crazy example, could organize meetings to conscientize people and make them see that they are not bad. They are just doing what they have to do, and absolutely all the responsibility lies with the suffering party. It seems to me that the word conscientize could be replaced by indoctrinate. I think that would be rather more accurate. And such indoctrination takes place deliberately and with full awareness, with the abusing party perceiving goodness and honesty as strong weaknesses that make them susceptible to manipulation. Isn't that right? To me, that is the full meaning of evil, and there is no truer and closer to it. And inside my crazy little head, sometimes the strong theory arises that these people don't really believe in karma, because they sleep quite peacefully. What they do believe in is that they must act in a luminous way in the eyes of others, in order to have in their deck the argument card that they are doing what they can to help. For this and many other reasons, the New Age movement is also turning into something very harmful and dangerous against the seeds themselves, who time after time find themselves turning the other cheek, thinking that they should just forgive and continue to allow atrocities to their person, their integrity, and their environment. The part of what I consider to be evil has only to play the role of being someone who is spiritually highly advanced and who cares for the welfare of others, and automatically every argument of the seed is shot down, and the dynamic of mistreatment continues. As to whether evil tends to self-destruct, that's a whole separate issue for me, and I don't know whether to open that melon. From a very everyday point of view, we could say that, in general, perhaps it does, since lies have a limited life expectancy. And once the truth comes out, there is no turning back for them. Also understanding that there is no universal and definitive truth for everything, but knowing that this very concept is used in the same way as a wild card to do harm without consequences. On a slightly more expanded level, we could say that it is the tendency to self-destruct because, at the end of the day, we are all the same person, therefore, they are hurting themselves. That could be so, yes, but it should also be taken into account that many of those people who live from evil and from extracting the energy of others in a selfish way, without empathy and without remorse, are nothing but egregores without a conscience behind them, which depends precisely on that energy. In any case, whether or not the concept that evil tends to self-destruct is debatable, which I will leave to your own discretion, I am very clear on two things. 1. That evil tends to pursue destruction, but of others. And 2. That such thinking leads us, once again, to inaction, to permissiveness, to allowing, again, that harm without consequence. And if that party sees emotions and empathy as a valuable open door to confuse the emotional empathic seed at will, then they will use whatever is necessary to squeeze that tool. However, as we have discussed in other videos, the empathic seed that does not harbor such evil within itself cannot help but fall into that trap. Or rather, we may all have an angel and a monster inside, but most would not use their monster in that way and choose to be the angel. Therefore, one tends to think that no one would be capable of such a thing. That, coupled with the misrepresentation of the understanding of different perspectives on just about everything, we have a succulent stake of energy for those entities that depend on you. But I don't want you to take my words as pessimistic or doom and gloom. I remind you and will always remind you that you are in control. You have the power in your life. Let no one use this premise to hold you fully responsible for their abuse, but take that power to act. To work on you? Sure, of course. But that does not mean continuing to allow evil in your life, understanding evil as I understand it. Defend yourself. Set your limits. Don't give anyone the power to hurt you and make you feel guilty about it. Take responsibility for what you can take responsibility for and get to work on improving your life. Be the best person you can be. I challenge you to become the most amazing person in the world. But don't let that ever mean letting anyone walk all over you. Keep shining and use your energy on yourself and on those who truly love and value you. Never ever to feed evil. Because, according to me, yes, of course it does. Evil exists. And it cannot and will never be able to beat me.